What if the thing that makes women genuinely, deeply, and lastingly attracted to a man has nothing to do with how he looks, how much he earns, or how impressive his life appears from the outside? What if it has everything to do with something far more subtle? Something most men over 60 have either never been taught or quietly stopped doing years ago without realizing what it cost them. I want you to sit with that question for a moment, because here is what I have learned after studying attraction and emotional connection across hundreds of conversations and relationships, particularly in the second half of life. The men who attract the most genuine, lasting, deeply felt interest from women are not the most handsome. They are not the wealthiest. They are not the loudest or the most charming in the conventional sense. They are the most grounded, the most emotionally present, the most clearly themselves. And they communicate in a way that is so rare, so genuinely different from what most men offer, that women feel it before they can even name what it is. Today we are going to talk about exactly what that looks like, what it sounds like, why it works the way it does at the neurological level, and how any man, regardless of age, regardless of what he has been through, can begin doing it starting today. This is not about techniques or tactics. This is about something real, something that, once you understand it, will change not just how women respond to you, but how you show up in every meaningful conversation you have for the rest of your life. Welcome back to Secrets Inside the Mind. I am Liza. Every single day on this channel, we have honest, real conversations about human psychology, attraction, and the truths about connection that most people are too afraid to say clearly. If you are not subscribed yet, please do that right now and turn on your notifications.
I post every day, and I genuinely want you here for every conversation. Now let us get into this. The foundation, what attraction actually is after 60. Before we get into the specific thing that draws women to certain men, I need to reframe something that most men carry as an unexamined assumption. Most men, when they think about attraction, think about it as something you either have or you do not. Like a fixed quality awning, something assigned at birth and distributed unequally. Some men have it, others do not. And age, in most men's minds, is something that takes it away. That assumption is wrong. And it is costing men enormously. And here is what attraction actually is. Nice, not the movie version, not the surface level version, but the real neurological, psychological truth of it. Attraction is a feeling. It is not a judgment. It is not a decision a woman makes rationally after evaluating a list of your qualities. It is something that happens in her nervous system in response to specific signals you send, consciously or unconsciously, through how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you listen, and most importantly, how present you are in the interaction. The human brain is constantly and automatically scanning for specific signals. Signals of safety, signals of certainty, signals of emotional presence. And when those signals are clear and consistent, something powerful happens. The brain begins to associate the person generating them with a feeling. Psychologists call this emotional anchoring. Over time, your presence becomes linked to specific emotional states. Comfort, calm, the feeling of being genuinely seen. And once that association is formed, she does not just think of you. She feels you. She reaches for that feeling. She wants to be near it again. And here is the critical thing about this process for men over 60 specifically.
As people mature, as they accumulate real life experience, real loss, real wisdom, they become far more sensitively attuned to the difference between what is genuine and what is performed, between a man who is truly present and a man who is going through motions, between clarity and ambiguity, between someone who is actually there and someone who is physically in the room but mentally somewhere else entirely. Which means that the very qualities that create the deepest attraction in mature women are qualities that deepen with age when a man is willing to develop them. Not qualities that diminish, qualities that grow. Let us talk about what those qualities actually look like in practice. Before we go deeper, please subscribe to Secrets Inside the Mind right now. I am Liza. I post every single day, and every video is a real, honest conversation about human psychology and attraction. Hit that subscribe button and let us keep going.
The first thing, emotional leadership through clarity. The first quality that draws women powerfully towards certain men, particularly men with life experience and genuine inner stability, is something I call emotional leadership. And I want to be very precise about what that means because it is often misunderstood. Emotional leadership is not dominance. It is not control. It is not telling someone else what to do or feel. Emotional leadership is the willingness to know what you want and to express it calmly, directly, without apology, and without hiding it behind vagueness or performance. Most men have spent decades doing the opposite. They have learned, often through painful experience, to soften their desires, to make themselves smaller, to replace genuine expression with safe, non-committal language that protects them from rejection. Whatever you prefer. I am fine with anything. You decide. On the surface, this sounds considerate, easygoing, kind. But here is what it actually communicates at an emotional level. It communicates absence. It tells the person across from you that you are not quite fully here, that the moment does not matter enough to you to take a position in it, that you are more interested in avoiding discomfort than in creating genuine connection. And absence, emotional absence, it does not build attraction. It erodes it. Slowly, quietly, completely. Now feel the difference when a man says something different. I want to take you to dinner this weekend. I know a place I think you would love. Nothing aggressive, nothing demanding, but everything present. There is direction in that sentence. There is a man who has decided something and is expressing it without hiding behind uncertainty. And that quality is the quality of a man who can say clearly what he wants without needing permission to want it is profoundly attractive. Here is the psychology behind why. When you express desire with calm clarity, you create what researchers call polarity in an interaction. One person is grounded in intention. The other is free to respond authentically. That dynamic, direction meeting openness, is where genuine attraction forms. It cannot form in ambiguity. It cannot form when both people are waiting for the other to lead. Someone has to step forward, and a man who does so calmly, steadily, without force, he is immediately different from the vast majority. I want to tell you about a man I spoke with some time ago. His name was David, 58 years old, divorced, professionally successful, but quietly convinced he had become invisible to women. He told me he felt like he was doing everything right, but nothing was landing. On his third date with a woman named Linda, he almost defaulted to his usual pattern. Let me know if you want to see me again. Safe, neutral, forgettable. But that evening he stopped himself. He took a slow breath. He looked at her and said simply, "I want to see you again. I enjoyed tonight more than I expected." Then he paused. He did not rush to fill the silence. He did not nervously qualify what he had said. He simply let it be there. Linda later told him that was the moment something shifted for her. Not dramatically, not instantly, but clearly, because for the first time she knew where she stood, and knowing where you stand with someone, feeling like you have been genuinely chosen rather than tolerated, is one of the most attractive experiences a person can have. The second thing, appreciation that sees beneath the surface. The second quality that draws women towards certain men is closely related to the first, but it operates on a deeper level. And without it, clarity alone is not enough. It is the ability to genuinely see another person, specifically to see beneath the surface of who they are, and to reflect that back to them honestly. Most men express attraction through compliments about appearance. You look beautiful. You have a great smile. And while there is nothing wrong with those, they do not go deep. They do not reach the part of a woman that most wants to be seen, the part that is not her appearance, but her way of being in the world, her character, her strength, the qualities she has built through everything she has lived through. When you tell a woman, I appreciate how calm you were in that situation, most people would have reacted very differently. You are doing something entirely different from complimenting her appearance. You are telling her that you are paying attention to who she actually is, that you notice something real and specific and meaningful about her inner world, and that, being truly seen at that level, is one of the rarest and most profound experiences a human being can have. There is a neurological reason this works so powerfully. When a person feels genuinely appreciated, seen not for their surface but for their substance, the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the chemical of trust, warmth, and deep emotional connection. And once that chemical is released in association with your presence, something important happens. She begins to associate you with that feeling of being understood. And that is what people return for. Not perfection, not performance, that feeling. But here's the critical caveat. This only works when it is real. Women with life experience are extraordinarily good at detecting the difference between genuine observation and performed appreciation, between a man who is actually paying attention and a man who is saying words he thinks will land well. They feel the difference before they can explain it, in your tone, your timing, the specificity of what you notice, which means the work here is not about finding the right words. It is about actually paying attention.
About slowing down enough in a conversation to notice real, specific, unmistakable things about the person in front of you. And then, when the moment is genuine, reflecting those things back. I appreciate how you handled that. That says something about your character. I appreciate the way you explain that. Your perspective is genuinely interesting. I appreciate how easy it is to be myself around you. That is rare. Each of those sentences does 3 things simultaneously. It creates a moment of genuine recognition. It communicates that you were present enough to notice. And it makes her feel valued for something real rather than something surface level. We are getting to the most important part of this conversation, where everything comes together. Before we get there, please subscribe to Secrets Inside the Mind if you have not already. I am here every single day, and I do not want you to miss what is coming next.
Here is something that most men over 60 have never been told, and it is something I want you to truly absorb. The qualities that create the deepest attraction in mature women are not qualities that diminish with age. They are qualities that can only be genuinely developed through years of real living. Younger men can perform confidence. They can project energy and excitement and novelty, and those things create attraction of a certain kind. Intense, quick, often short-lived. But the specific kind of attraction that a mature woman is looking for, the kind that makes her feel safe enough to relax completely, curious enough to keep wanting more, and grounded enough to actually trust, that cannot be performed by someone who has not lived long enough to have genuinely earned it. The emotional steadiness that comes from having navigated real difficulty, the clarity that comes from having spent enough time with yourself to actually know what you want. The ability to appreciate someone deeply because you have lived long enough to understand how rare certain qualities are. These things cannot be faked by a 30-year-old. They are the specific gifts of a life fully lived, which means a man over 60 who has done his inner work, who is genuinely present, genuinely clear, genuinely appreciative, is not competing with younger men. He is in an entirely different category, offering something that younger men simply cannot provide. The only thing standing between most men and this kind of attraction is not their age. It is their willingness to stop hiding, to stop softening everything they feel into vagueness, to step back into genuine expression after years of quietly retreating from it. What gets in the way? Why men stop expressing. I want to spend a moment on something that most conversations about attraction never address, because understanding it is what makes everything else possible. Most men did not consciously decide to stop expressing what they want and what they appreciate. It happened gradually, through accumulated moments where expressing desire led to rejection or dismissal, through relationships where genuine expression created conflict instead of connection, through a culture that taught men that wanting things and saying so clearly was somehow presumptuous or unsafe. And so, over time, expression became cautious, then careful, then almost completely absent. But here is what that silence costs. Attraction cannot grow in the absence of expressed desire. It needs direction. It needs the feeling that something is actually happening, that someone is actually here, actually present, actually choosing this moment and this person. Without that feeling of being chosen, of being specifically wanted, interest naturally fades, not because she stopped caring, but because there was nothing to hold it in place. And the beautiful thing about understanding this is that it means the solution is not complicated. You do not need to become someone different. You do not need new strategies or better lines or a more impressive version of yourself. You simply need to start expressing what is already true, to bring back into language what you have been feeling but not saying. I want more time with you. I appreciate everything you bring to this. I want to be closer to you. Those sentences do not require perfection. They require only honesty and presence. And a man who can offer those two things, I can see, particularly a man who has spent 60 years developing the depth to make them feel real, is someone a woman does not easily forget. The practical application, how to begin. Let me make this as practical as possible, because understanding this intellectually is only the beginning. The real shift happens when you actually start doing it. Here is a simple structure you can begin using immediately in any interaction. Express what you want clearly. Pair it with something you genuinely appreciate. Then pause and let it breathe. I want to spend more time with you. I appreciate how grounded I feel when we talk. I want to see where this goes. I appreciate your honesty. It makes everything easier. I want to plan something together. I appreciate that you are someone I can actually talk to. Each of those sentences is simple. None of them is performance. All of them communicate the two things that create lasting attraction, direction, and depth. A man who knows what he wants and a man who sees who she is. The pause that follows matters enormously. Silence after something genuine is not emptiness. It is confidence. It is the willingness to let your words exist without immediately rushing to soften or qualify or explain them away. And that willingness communicates something about your inner state that no additional words could. Begin with small daily expressions. Practice saying what you want in low-stakes situations. Practice noticing and naming what you appreciate in the people around you. Build the habit of genuine expression before you need it in the moments that matter most. Because confidence in expression does not come from thinking about it. It comes from doing it until it feels natural. Personal reflection, Liza's voice. I want to share something before we close, because it feels important. I have spoken with many men over the years who came to these conversations convinced that time had made them less attractive, less relevant, less worthy of the kind of genuine, deep connection they still quietly wanted. And every single time, what I found was not a man who had become less. I found a man who had become more experienced, more patient, more genuinely himself, but who had also become quieter about it.
Who had slowly stopped expressing the substance that was actually his greatest asset. The work is not about becoming more impressive. It is about becoming more present, more willing to say what is true, more willing to let another person see what is genuinely there, rather than a carefully managed version of it. A man who can do that, who can walk into a conversation without needing to perform, who can say clearly what he wants and genuinely appreciate what he sees, is not competing with anyone. He is simply himself, and himself, fully expressed, is more than enough. The thing that draws women towards certain men over 60 is not a secret. It is not hidden. It has been available to you all along. It is clarity. It is genuine appreciation. It is the willingness to show up fully, to be completely present, to express honestly, to stay in the moment without retreating behind vagueness or performance.
A man who does those things, who communicates direction and depth with the calm confidence of someone who has genuinely earned both, is someone a woman does not easily walk away from. Now I want to hear from you. Which part of this resonated most? The clarity of saying what you want, or the depth of expressing genuine appreciation? And is there someone in your life right now who has never heard either from you? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this video gave you something real today, please give it a like, share it with a man in your life who needs to hear this, and subscribe to Secrets Inside the Mind if you have not already. I am here every single day. I am Liza. I will see you tomorrow.